Hey everybody, we're going to spend some time talking about that first draft. It's already here. You guys are composing your drafts already. It goes by so quickly and you are doing amazing. Hang in there. You're going to get through this. So let's take a look at Assignment 2, Milestone 1, our draft. And we're going to look at it in MindEdge, and then we'll take a look at our rubric as well. And this is going to be not a super long, hopefully, video, but it's an important one. So I do hope that you stick with me when we're talking about all of the components here, because this is like a big step in our writing process. It's our draft. Okay, so let's take a look at what MindEdge says about our draft. So we've done our notes, we've done our planning, and now we're ready to start applying all of that and actually writing. And a big part of this week as well is working on that thesis statement too. So you've got all of the pieces, and now we got to put it all together to make one stellar, amazing draft. As with most of our other assignments in MindEdge, we have a little bit of information about what it is. It's the typical format. You're going to answer some questions, and then we're going to put it all together. And now remember that we are looking to use the PI method to help support structuring of our paragraph. So you can go ahead and go back and kind of review that, or if you have any questions, post in the general discussion forum or connect with me directly and I'll be happy to clarify. What we want to do is make sure that every point has evidence. Okay, we don't want to just stand on our soapbox and be like, dude, you gotta listen to me. We need to have evidence from our articles and the research that we've been doing supporting each one of our key points. So go ahead and review that PI method if you are unfamiliar or you just need a quick refresher. As for our questions, introduction, what is the topic of your essay and how do you plan to grab your reader's attention at the beginning of your essay? So you don't necessarily need to answer this question as the point of my essay is this, and I'm going to grab my reader's attention by saying this. Go ahead and write it out. Start out with your attention getter. 90 billion students are using text lingo in academic writing and it's terrible. Of course, it's not 90 billion students. I just made that up. But some startling fact to get your attention. Do something in here to grab your reader's attention right at the beginning of your paper. And what is the topic of your essay? Let's write that first section in here. Second prompt, what is your thesis statement? Yay! And you'll notice that when we scroll down, this transitions to our body. You're going to see that in this prompting activity. It is broken up. You got your introduction, you got your body, and if we go down further, you have your conclusion. What is really cool about that is you're sort of piecing together your introductory paragraph right here. You've got, and make you dizzy going back and forth, there's my fan, attention getter, and your topic, and your thesis statement. So you want to type those in there and hit submit. But remember, when we download this into a Word document, you're going to want to open it up and reformat and actually combine these two answers into one stellar paragraph. Our introduction should be one paragraph. So let's, when we download it, open it back up and connect those two into a really, really awesome introductory paragraph. On to our body. Supporting paragraph 1. What is the first main point or reason of your paper? What is that first key point that we have explored over the past couple weeks? What evidence have you found that supports your key point? Now again, we don't want to answer this question literally. We don't want to say, I have found this piece of evidence. Go ahead and type it up and make that connection to your key point. And then we want to explain how this evidence supports your point as well. So you've got your key points, you've got your evidence, and then you're going to talk about it a little bit and tie it all together. And that's going to be your next paragraph. So you have your introduction paragraph and then your first supporting paragraph with these three components in there. Your key point, what evidence you have, and how it supports your point. And then you're going to do that for your supporting paragraph 2, so your second key point. You're going to answer those three prompts, and that's going to create your third paragraph. And then your supporting paragraph 3, which will be your fourth paragraph after your introduction, you're going to answer those prompts again. What is that key point? What evidence do you have to support it? And how does that evidence support your key point? And then remember, a big part of this paper is proving our point, but also acknowledging the other side, that counter argument. So supporting paragraph 4, which will actually be our fifth paragraph when we count our introduction, what is that counter argument you're going to respond to? So in my paper, I'm talking about how using using text lingo in academic writing is a negative thing for students to be doing. So maybe the counter argument would be that there is some value in allowing students to communicate their way. So think about that counter argument, and this is where you're going to write your paragraph for it. So what is that first counter argument you're going to respond to? And then how are you going to refute it? And this is where you say, all right, I guess it's okay for some students to be able to use text lingo. However, it is still important to remember that using text lingo is bad because it's ultimately doing a disservice to our students. So you present that counter argument, and then you're going to refute it and say, my argument's best. Okay? And then, if you want, you can have a second counter argument, but it is not required. So you can have two, but you definitely need to have one counter argument. And then that's going to be the main bodies of your, the main paragraph of your body of your paper. So remember, we scroll all the way back up. We've got our first paragraph is going to be our introduction. And then we have a paragraph for each one of our points, our three main key points, and then also for our counter argument. So at this point, we have 5 separate paragraphs. Because remember, when we download this, we need to open it back up and reformat those answers into actual paragraphs. All right, now we scroll down and take a look at what our conclusion is. Now the conclusion is sort of a review of what you've just done. It sort of reminds your audience of how everything ties together. So what were the most important key points that you made in the responses above? So what were your 3 main ideas? Now it's important that you don't copy and paste here. You don't want to self-plagiarize that way. Reiterate, rephrase what your 3 main key points were. Reiterate your thesis statement, but again, don't copy and paste it. Let's rephrase it. Let's paraphrase our own writing. So you have your 3 main key points, whatever your big ideas were, and then reiterate your thesis statement. And then I always encourage you guys to leave a strong, resounding, definitive final statement. Send your audience off with a good, strong goodbye, reminding them why this was so important. And then you're going to submit all of them, and then remember, you're going to download it into a Word document, and this is important, guys. Open up that Word document and reformat it into a traditional essay. We're going to start losing points if we're not doing that step. Make sure you're double spacing, make sure you're indenting your paragraphs, and remember that each of these answers are a part of a paragraph. You want to combine them into your introductory paragraph, your 3 or 4 body paragraphs, your 4 or 5 body paragraphs, and then your conclusion paragraph. Make sure that you've got your identifying information on there. If you're writing an APA, let's have a cover page. We'll talk more about that soon. And make sure that you are submitting an actual essay, not just prompt answers. Okay, so we're going to download it, save it, reformat it, and then upload it over in our over in our assignment section. Now I want to take a look at our rubric real quick, because it does help us to remember what those critical elements are that we are working towards. And again, all of our rubrics do have a breakdown of what the assignment is, and we have our usual proficiency levels: proficient, need improvement, not evident, as well as our main key critical elements that we are looking for. Your introduction: do you give us an overview of the topic that you're talking about? Introduction paragraph: do you include your thesis? Okay. And then we're going to look at how our body paragraphs are put together. Do you have multiple paragraphs that are focused, clearly state their intent, and build your thesis argument? So do each one of your body paragraphs have a topic sentence? Are they focused? Are you using evidence? And do they tie into or support your thesis? The next thing we look at with our body paragraphs is, do your body paragraphs communicate your argument by combining thoughts with evidence? Again, we want to make sure that we are using our own ideas, but also supporting those ideas with evidence. So let's make sure that we're doing that. And then we also want to make sure that you address and refute a counter argument. And let's use some evidence to do that as well. Then we're going to take a look at our conclusion. Do you rephrase and summarize those 3 key points? Do you include a couple new insights that maybe you learned about this topic? And do you have a nice, strong conclusion that wraps up the whole point of the paper? And then our old friend, articulation of response. We want to make sure that our submission is free of errors related to citations, grammar, spelling, syntax, and organization. And remember that we are needing to use citations because we're using evidence from other people's work. So make sure when you use direct quotes or you're paraphrasing stuff that you do put those citations in. And if you have any questions on that at all, let me know. You can post in the general discussion forum. We can talk one-on-one, whatever you need to feel supported. And that, guys, is your draft. It's awesome that it's already here. Do not overthink it. Just be sure that you are opening up that document and reformatting it into a proper essay, and you'll be golden. Hang in there, guys. You got this. It's going to be amazing.